Welcome, everybody, to Technology Today, episode number 37. I'm your host, David Herzog, and today I've got some stories from the world of technology, and I'm going to demonstrate how to access the BIOS on your PC from within the Windows 10 operating system. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Well, hello everybody. What's going on? It's David Herzog talking at you once again here. How's everybody doing? And we're in the second week of July, I do believe. Yeah, actually the first week still. July 7th here. Hopefully everybody's staying nice and cool. And if you're not inside in the AC, you're somewhere in AC, or you got some water cold water being squirted on you somewhere. So, and hopefully you're staying nice and cool. Well, if you'd like to listen to this podcast, Spreaker.com in the technology section of their webpage is where you can listen to it. Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And you can also watch this on my YouTube channel, Technology Today. And you can watch this on my Twitter page as well too, at your leisure. Well, I believe we're going to go ahead and get started here. So we'll get started with the first story here. So here we go. Microsoft SEO poisoning used to backdoor targets with malware. It appears that Microsoft is tracking a series of attacks that use SEO poisoning to infect targets with a remote access Trojan capable of stealing the victims' sensitive info and backdooring their systems. The malware delivered in this campaign is Solar Marker, also known as Jupiter, Polizert, and Yellow Cockatoo, a .NET RAT that runs in memory and is used by attackers to drop other payloads on infected devices. Solar Marker is designed to provide its masters with a backdoor, compromised systems, and steal credentials from web browsers. The data it manages to harvest from infected systems is exfiltrated to the command and control server. It will also gain persistence by adding itself to the startup folder and modifying shortcuts on the victim's desktop. In April, eCentral researchers observed threat actors behind SolarMaker flooding search results with over 100,000 web pages claiming to provide free office forms such as invoices, questionnaires, receipts, and resumes. However, these questionable free office forms would instead act as traps for business professionals searching for document templates and infecting them with the SolarMaker RAT using drive-by downloads and search redirection via Shopify and Google sites. In more recent attacks spotted by Microsoft, the attackers have switched to keyword stuffed documents hosted on AWS and strikingly, and are now targeting other sectors including finance and education. According to Microsoft, the attackers used thousands of PDF documents stuffed with SEO keywords and links that start a chain of redirections, eventually leading to the malware. To achieve this, the attackers padded these documents with greater than 10 pages of keywords on a wide range of topics, from insurance forms and acceptance of contracts to how to join in SQL and math answers. Once the victims find one of the maliciously crafted PDFs and open them, They are prompted to download another PDF or document containing the information they're looking for. And instead of doing this, the victims of this attack gaining access to the information they're after, the victims of this attack are redirected through multiple websites using .site, .tk, and .ga-TLDs to a cloned Google Drive webpage where they are served the last payload, the Solar Maker malware. So, if you are downloading anything, be very, very, very careful of documents and document templates that you choose to download from the internet, because they could not be the real deal. You know, you might end up getting some kind of a malware or ransomware on your computer, and this is just the day and age that we live in, and this is one of the main things that we have to be careful with while we're engaging in our online activities. Well, with that story being done and out of the way, let's go ahead and get on to the second story, shall we? And here's one for graphics cards. NVIDIA is dropping support for Windows 7 and Windows 8 drivers. NVIDIA is dropping support for Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 drivers starting in October 2021, which is not too far off, as they focus on supporting Windows 10 and later versions of Windows. In a new support bulletin published on Friday, NVIDIA says they will only provide new features, bug fixes, or performance enhancements to game-ready drivers for Windows 10. While drivers for Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 will continue to receive critical security updates through September 2024, they will no longer receive any non-security improvements. According to NVIDIA, in a support bulletin released by the company, NVIDIA stated that Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 7 and Windows 8, with Windows 8.1 nearing the end of its life cycle as well. Furthermore, NVIDIA stated the vast majority of their GeForce customers have migrated to the Windows 10 operating system. In order to ensure GeForce owners experience the best possible security, support, and functionality, NVIDIA will now focus on the Windows 10 operating system. Also, NVIDIA further states that their final game-ready driver supporting Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 will be released on August 31st, 2021. From that point forward, there will be no further drivers released that support the previous versions of Windows. For users running the older Windows versions, there should not be much impact to your gaming experience on existing games, and they will continue to run as normal. However, NVIDIA commonly adds performance improvements into their drivers to support new games as they are released, and these older versions of Windows will no longer receive these benefits. So, if you have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, you may want to begin to start thinking about upgrading to Windows 10, because even though as it just stated, they're no longer going to be supporting the drivers, NVIDIA for the operating systems after October of this year. All right. Well, with getting that one out of the way there and stuff, let's go ahead to get the third and final one here. Windows 10's optional update feature is broken, and here's why. Windows 10 has a frustrating and annoying problem where Windows Update will only offer one optional update at a time. Microsoft commonly releases new updates that are considered optional that won't be installed automatically by Windows Update. Optional updates include new Windows 10 feature updates, Windows 10 preview cumulative updates, feature experience packs, and some out-of-band fixes that target a specific bug in the operating system. However, for over a year now, Windows 10 will only offer one optional update at a time, even if there are multiple optional updates available for your version of Windows 10. For example, the recently released Windows 10 21H1 update has preferential treatment in Windows Update and is offered regardless of other available optional updates. This past week, when Microsoft released the out-of-band KB5004476 Windows 10 update fix to fix an Xbox Game Pass bug preventing users from installing or launching games. What is frustrating about this is that even though the update applies to Windows 10 20H2, Windows Update would not install this update on a PC until after the Windows 10 21H1 update was installed on the PC. Microsoft introduced a new optional update experience to Windows 10 in 2019 that was supposed to resolve this issue and allowed you to pick and choose what optional updates you wish to install. However, this feature is clearly not working and is in desperate need of repair by Microsoft. Also, it's not clear why Microsoft isn't offering all optional updates under the optional updates feature. Finally, in its current form, users are unnecessarily forced to install feature updates before they can get access to the actual updates they want. So, that's something else to be aware of, in our day and age, as far as, getting your optional updates. If you choose to install the optional updates, as they're optional, they're not mandatory. You don't have to install them. But if you do install them, that's a story about installing optional updates for Windows 10. Okay, now we're getting ready to get to the last part of the podcast here, the technology tip of the day. All right, the technology tip of the day for this podcast is how to access the BIOS on your PC from Windows 10. And anybody can do this. It's real easy, and it's a feature that Microsoft has added into Windows 10. So you don't have to start your computer, restart your computer, and keep pressing F12 or delete or whatever key on your keyboard it is to get into the BIOS. And anyone can do this. And I'm going to show you a brief demonstration on how to do this. It's really, really, really easy. So, with that in question right there, here is the PC that I have that is on. This is what I like to call my college computer, because this computer I built while I was in college, and what I use for demonstration purposes when I do visual tutorial demonstrations for those who are watching this podcast on YouTube. So, as you can see, what I'm going to do here is hit the Windows I on the keyboard right here, and that's going to bring up the settings tab, and we're going to go right to the update and security tab. And after we go to the update security tab right there, we're going to go down to the recovery tab right there, and I'm going to click on that. and we're going to go down to the bottom. We don't want to restart the PC, and we're going to go. We don't want to. We don't want to reset it. I mean, and we're going to click on the Restart Now button right there. And what this is going to do to this computer, it's going to restart it. And we're going to come into some other options here as soon as the computer restarts. All right, and there we go. We're going down here. As you can see, the options that we have are continue and exit the Windows 10. We don't want to do that. Use a device, Windows recovery or DVD. We don't want to turn off your PC. We definitely don't want to do that. What we're going to do is the only option we have is the troubleshoot. We're going to click the troubleshoot option right there. And we're not going to reset this PC. We're going to advanced options menu on there. And advanced options, we're not going to do startup and repair. We're not going to do startup settings. We're not going to do command prompt. We're not going to do uninstall updates. We're not going to do system restore. The final one we're going to do is here. UEFI firmware settings. Change settings in your PC's UEFI. We're going to click on that. And we're in the UEFI firmware settings. We start to change UEFI settings. And we're going to click the restart button and that should take us into the BIOS of this computer. As you can see, it's going to restart. And it goes to the Gigabyte splash screen, and there we are right there. You can see it, the BIOS of the UEFI BIOS of this Gigabyte computer that I built when I was in college. And I think this is a much easier way to access your BIOS than to repeatedly press the F12 key or delete key or F10 key. And so, that's how you access the BIOS, of your computer, and it's real easy in Windows 10. So, let me go ahead and get the go to save and exit here. If I can get back there, save and exit. Okay. Save and exit right there. Okay, because I want to get this back to Windows 10 on this computer. Save and exit setup, yes. Okay. All right, and that should take us back. That should take me back to the to Windows 10. And let's go ahead and I can show you right there. The screen is coming back up of it. As you just seen, briefly saw the Gigabyte splash screen for those who are watching. And there we are. We're at the desktop. We go ahead and log in. And we are back in Windows 10 right there. So as you can see, it really was that easy to access the BIOS through Windows 10. I'm glad Microsoft put that feature in the code of their software for everyone to be able to do that. Just in case you need to go into the BIOS and make whatever setting changes that you need to make in your BIOS. All right. Well, there really is nothing else that I have going on for today. And I believe that's going to conclude the show for today. If you're curious and you'd like to find out any more information about me, you can find me on the University of Cincinnati's homepage at homepages.uc.edu/Herzog DL, or you can find this podcast on Spreaker.com in the technology section of their webpage, and on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. You can also watch this on my YouTube channel, Technology Today, and on my Twitter page as well too. And I'd like to thank everyone for listening and watching today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, watching today. I just said that. Sorry about that. And I'll be talking at you soon. Goodbye. Until next time.